Welcome to the weekly. I'm Jeremy.
I'm Matt.
Hey, Matt.
Hey.
And this is our 2024 Postmortem. So everything we remember, we liked, and we didn't like that happened last year in gaming. The first thing, though, that I thought would be fun to talk about is how much gaming we actually did. We met pretty regularly online and played a lot of games. So let's just go back over some of that. So one of the we did our second session at the beginning of last year, our second session of the Magnagothica Maleghast. So those were pretty popular. I tried to kind of roughly use, we're using Foundry for that. Yeah, we're trying to roughly use a VTT for it. But it, people liked watching that. I was really surprised. And it was interesting that the designer gave you all the digital assets to actually do that. Like, so it's intended because of all the tokens and all the craziness. Digital is probably the best way to actually play. Could you imagine that many pennies or that many glass beads on a game board?
So many trackers you would need if that was like a miniature game on the table. Oh,
right. Yes, and had good art, so that was fun. And of course, we did the second case file for for Blade Runner, Fiery Angels. Yeah, that was fun. I'm so glad that came out. As soon as that showed up, we had to get that on the table.
So was not Terry's first game with us, was it, or was it?
No, Star Trek. Yeah, Star Trek. 2023 Star Trek was.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was good. So it was fun to you had your kind of the two character dynamics, more Perez from the first case, and then we added Bishop. Yeah, we added a third. So things, and it was a third replicant. So Perez got outnumbered pretty fast.
Another skin job.
And then we pivoted to Dune, the big epic 2D20 Dune. We did 16 sessions of Dune. Can you believe that?
We played a lot of Dune.
Yeah. That built out pretty big. And then taking a break from Dune, we did Outgunned. So we did the kind of quick start for Outgunned when the crowdfunder was running. And then when one of us wasn't available, I think it was mostly when Terry wasn't available, Ironsworn. So Will guided us through some Ironsworn, which is good. I really wanted an opportunity to play that and didn't want to kind of just wrestle with it myself and do it as like a solo thing, because it was more fun, especially you guys discussing the system, you guys going back and forth about what you were liking and not liking about the system. It really helped to make it make sense, and also to see kind of what Shawn Tomkins was kind of going for. That was a good way to experience it. And then Matt ran the awesome Indy Heat 1985 for Outgunned. Yeah, that was really fun. Yeah, that system just lets you unnecessarily push things to extreme.
Yeah, that was fun. It was like, setting that up, I wasn't really sweating the system. I was just thinking about how to make the investigation entertaining. So that was nice. That was really nice.
Yeah, that's good. And then we went to Alien, and we did two, or in the middle of the second, but we did the first two cinematic adventures scenarios, and Chariot of the Gods we finished, getting stuck on a ship. But I was surprised that Will kind of turned that into a lot more surviving than I thought there would be at the end there. You and Terry made it off to unknown results with a new ship. Just what you always wanted.
Will's really good at playing androids that take a sharp left turn.
Right. Yeah, and we're now not quite in the middle, maybe close to the middle of Destroyer of Worlds. So we'll pick that up tomorrow. So what was your favorite, or what was the thing that you were like, surprised by in all that and everything that we played this past year?
Oh, that's tough, man. They were all a hoot in their own way. I'm glad I kind of pulled off Outgunned like an actual investigation, and it wasn't too riddled with holes, hopefully. Dune was where we ended up going with Dune was pretty unexpected. That was kind of fun and cool for sure.
Yeah.
The Blade Runner one was also very cool. Damn, I just want to play everything.
Yeah.
And now I'm starting to kind of be like, we now have created some characters that I really would like to revisit, right? So we've been talking on Messenger about Vaesen.
Yeah.
That's been on my brain a lot lately. I was like, yeah, we should do that again.
Yeah. And
now we have Terry.
Yeah.
So, who knows what.
Yeah. A third player character will make that interesting, I think. And especially how he wants to fit in, like what kind of influence he wants to be. Because that game has, just like the tough, guy with a shotgun, or it has the priest or the physician, so there's a lot of kind of weird range, and kind of like, you're going to be guiding things. You're going to be practical and scientific, or you're going to be, spiritual or supernatural. So yeah, there could be some good things.
I did have an idea. If we go with Nils and oh no,
Axel,
thank you. Sorry, Will. Bringing them back and the whole thing with Nils being a revenant or whatever. I have an idea for how to start that I want to talk to you and Will.
Oh,
about.
Nice. Oh, that's good. Yeah, we should figure out. I'll take a look at all of the we have some books of adventures, and then we have the, England and Ireland, and the seasons, this kind of seasonal based one. And then we've got the Carpathia coming out, and then there's that kind of climactic Stockholm campaign. So I'll take a look at what would fit best into kind of our next step of that, and what would kind of, match kind of a resurrection, or what Axel does with his manservant, like how he returns. So yeah, that'll be interesting, because I'm kind of thinking that the giant, the one with the giants might be good, because we introduced the idea of that being part of the history, like the giants destroying one of the original headquarters. So that's already been kind of introduced into the story. So I'll have to see how that goes, because that might be a fun one to bring you back into. So we'll have to decide whether we want to stay in Sweden or get all international.
Well, the weird thing about going international with the same characters is that whole phase of the game where we're like building on the house.
Oh yeah, right.
Wouldn't track really.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you'd really have to be setting up a new headquarters. Yeah, that's true. Oh yeah, and I didn't even think. I wonder how they probably just assume you're starting again and moving it. I don't think they're assuming you're trying to connect, one of those locales.
Right.
But Carpathia sounds fun.
It does. Yeah, I'm down.
Nice. All right. So yeah, let's kind of go through some of the things we touched on in the past year, so 2024. So it started badly. So we had two losses, two deaths right at the beginning. I think they actually happened in December of 23. But the first news we talked about in 2024 was the death of Brian Ansel and Janelle Jacquez. So right away we lost two big presences in tabletop. And it was interesting throughout the year. So the tribute, there was a kind of a tribute campaign done for Jacquez, and it was really nice to see the community kind of, rally around her work and it was insane. Like just looking at moving into video games and everything, how much she accomplished in her career. It was too bad that it was cut short. But and then Brian Ansel from Games Workshop. So all of the original people were going to start to, I guess, just like D&D. We're going to start to lose the original people from now the 80s. It was the 70s and now the 80s.
Yeah, and now uh, Menser, he's getting pretty old,
Mm-hmm.
and he's starting to really rankle people, which is sad because when he does finally die, I want people to be respectful.
Right, right.
But he's tilting at windmills with WotC, and it's interesting.
Well, that does have to be really frustrating. I mean, just TSR itself had to be frustrating enough for a lot of these guys to deal with this kind of corporate, having to deal with some kind of a, company structure, but a careless and very, shareholder driven company like Hasbro and then, Wizards of the Coast has to be really frustrating because it goes against every reason that they got into, working on Dungeons and Dragons. The last thing they wanted to see, is Hasbro buy that property. Yeah. So very, very frustrating. And probably the products that they've been putting out have been disappointing because they have a lot of gloss and a lot of, presentation, but they're really lacking the, kind of mechanics and devotion to what, I think originally they thought the game was. So, yeah, I think that has to be frustrating to see to see your baby dressed up all strange and strutting around for people you never expected to play your games.
Yeah, well, they're selling it to a very different crowd. Like it for the older folks, it probably feels a lot like the role-playing industry equivalent of gentrification of your neighborhood. You know what I mean? Because WotC is definitely targeting a very different group of D&D players who are just jumped on, when they got big again and are not familiar with any of the background for the most part. And that'd be weird.
Yeah, no, that's true. And to know that like most people are just playing it, in D&D Beyond, like on a computer online has to feel really weird. You're missing the point. And then, we heard the lawsuit. So I guess 2 years ago, we saw Evil Genius Games and the Rebel Moon fiasco. So they were working on a tabletop game and ended up having to sue Netflix over Rebel Moon because Netflix just jerked it away from them and said, nope, you're not doing this. And thank you for everything you've done so far. But I guess Evil Genius is going to be able to kind of the work that they've done, kind of take out the details that were specific to Rebel Moon, but actually do some sort of sci-fi thing with that. I don't know if it's going to be worth doing because it's such a mess. But so we got contacted by the owner of Evil Genius Games to help promote the Everyday Heroes RPG. We got a PDF, but that's the last I heard. So I was waiting to see what where that was going to go. But maybe So I've seen other people doing promotions, having promotional codes and stuff. So I'll have to get in touch and see if there's anything still going on. And
we'll make Will run that one.
Yes, Will might be, that might be a good match. And we got the announcement for the Rogue Trooper movie. That's like, peripherally tabletop related, but that was exciting. I wonder if that's going to happen. And isn't that Duncan Jones? So yeah, we'll see. We'll see if that actually becomes a thing. It was going to be like CG, right? It was going to be animated. I don't think it was going to be a live action. So we'll see how that goes, but that'd be really fun to see on the big screen. We've been promised a lot though, and haven't seen it. And then Starfinder 2nd edition was play tested last year, and I can't believe. So they're Paizo's moving towards that kind of their new version, like, really trying to separate themselves from 3.5, D&D 3.5, and really be their own thing. And that that action economy, like Trevor talked about, that action economy that they're using is a little silly, but I think it's working for some people. I think like there's from things that I've read about Pathfinder 2nd edition, I think it'll hold true with Starfinder. Once you get the things in your head, like the conditions, like they've limited the amount of conditions and kind of status things that can affect your character. And once you have that all in your head, the system kind of works pretty well for like, what you're trying to do and what, what's stopping you and like what you can be afflicted with. Like there's a really, they've made it a more manageable kind of thing to think about than maybe previously in 3.5, but I haven't tried it. Yeah. I wouldn't know that from experience, but from what I've read, people are talking about it being more able to keep everything in your head at the same time.
If I was going to go the space game loosely based on old school or older D&D stuff, I think I'd want to do that Stars Without Number.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think that would be good. Yeah, definitely. And that would be really fun world building, too. I think that would be the best part of that is like the world you would make. Definitely. And and we got Epic Warpath. So Mantic is doing the epic scale, so the tiny, and they ended up with doing a compromise. I think it's like 12 millimeter. They did an interesting, not the true like Games Workshop 40K epic scale, a little bit bigger to kind of show off their minis a little bit. But they did a crowdfunder for that. We got the playtest materials for it, but we couldn't fit it into the schedule. But we got to see kind of what they were thinking about and how they were building the factions, and it was really fun. It was really fun to see how they were doing that. And so that's going to be coming hopefully this year sometime. And Mantic did a whole like sizzle reel of everything that's coming up, and they're going to release more for Halo. I guess people are going crazy for Halo, so they're doing well with the licensed IPs. They've got so many board games, like the Umbrella Academy, the Hellboy, Worms Tactics, or Worms, the PC game. There's so many things that they've had some success with on that licensed IP scale that I think they're going to push this. So maybe they'll go further into the Halo universe. We'll have the alien factions and stuff. But I guess because it's based on their Dead Zone, their kind of simplified Dead Zone movement where you're moving, it's called Dead Zone because you don't move inches. There's no measuring. It's basically the standard cube size where you can move up or, any way, because it's got a lot of verticality. The terrain has a lot of verticality. So you just move these squares, and what are they, like 3-inch squares? And you're moving through those, and there's rules for occupying that same zone, and so there's just no measuring. You can do this. Your weapon has this many cube ranges. Your movement is this many cubes, and so that or zones, I guess, and that zone thing maybe works really well for Halo as well. Makes it just simple and easy to strategize, because you can visualize it instead of saying, I think that's 8 inches. Might be. I'm not allowed to measure. So so I'm surprised that was such a hit. I think the original, like the Spartan edition or whatever, the original edition sold out. So the only way to get Master Chief is I think in a paint set or something now. But they're doing well with that, and so then we'll see Epic Warpath will fulfill, and then they're doing an Assassin's Creed, I think is what I saw. I think that's what I saw teased, an Assassin's Creed.
Really?
Yeah. So I don't know. They're really they're doing the IP stuff. I hope that
feels like it'd be more like one of those big Simon come on box.
Oh, right.
Adventure kind of game.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I wonder how they're going to handle it. Yeah, because their stuff is a smaller scale, like more manageable, more kind of rebellion sized. So let's see, what else did we get? We're returning to the Purple Planet. That's right. Dungeon Crawl Classics is releasing adventure. They did a campaign, I think, an adventure book. They're not redoing the box set though. I think they're doing everything in books. So that's too bad. It would have been nice to see.
I don't know if it's my algorithm or what, but the marketing for Goodman Games is really tailed off. Like I don't see as much of it as I used to see, and I don't know if that's my own engagement affecting the algorithm or what. But
interesting. Yeah, I've kind of noticed that as well. I'm kind of late to the party with some of the news about what they're crowdfunding or what's coming out, and I've also got really turned off because they can't handle the shipping thing, so they're just mostly only shipping to North America. So I'm kind of like left out of most of it. And and so we got as a tribute to Janelle Jacquet is the Return to Parenthos, that was the kind of everyone was contributed to a campaign that was in honor of that setting. So that was cool. That was cool to see the community, kind of collectively sharing in that kind of built setting. And we got a strange, suddenly Star Trek Adventures had a second edition, which I still haven't seen. No more D6s, only 2D20. So only D20s. So yeah, since we were playing Dune, that seemed an interesting turn. We'll have to see. We'll have to see how that plays if we can get back to some Star Trek. And then Nexus, that kind of the digital tool set is added a bunch of properties, and the last one that they added last year was Alien. So it seems like it's more meant for if you're doing a campaign and you have a ship and you have a sustained campaign with colonial marines or space truckers, because a lot of the tools are tracking really a lot of stuff. So not so useful to people that just want to play the cinematic scenarios. But if you have a campaign, it's really gorgeous too, because it's using all the artwork and stuff from Free League. So yeah, the Nexus looks good, but it just doesn't seem useful unless you're doing a long-term campaign.
Yeah, Nexus was that thing that like felt like there was a series of titles being announced for it, but I haven't thought of it since. Like, right. I don't hear about it until right now, so I don't know. Is it being used? Is it going to last?
Yeah, and hopefully they're going to have to do some integration with something. And I think, I think they were. I think we heard about them being bought by somebody, or somebody was trying to take that over, because it needs to have some. It can't just be a thing by itself. It needs to have some functionality with other VTTs or Discord or something, another tool that people are using. So we'll see what happens with that. Oh, and Daggerheart. So 5e is probably going to get replaced in all of the Critical Role. We saw some. I think it was a plate. There were playtest materials and stuff. A lot of leaks for Daggerheart.
Wait, did we skip the dumb? Oh, I shouldn't say dumb. Did we skip their horror, not horror game?
Oh, that might have come out the end of the year before, I think. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, because I didn't have this on the list. Yeah, it didn't come up. But yeah, they're. This is definitely not Blades in the Dark, but it kind of is. Yeah. Yeah.
You mean like Blades in the Dark, but somehow super sanitized?
Right. Yeah. So we'll see if they're as a publisher. We'll see if was it Darrington Press can actually find some success. I mean, they'll they have a great promotion engine because they have that amazingly popular actual play series to run their systems, but they don't really show off the system so much. So, and that would be really sad too if it kind of fell apart, where they decided, okay, we're gonna have to kind of foreground the system mechanics and everything so people can get excited about buying this product, and ruin their actual play, like ruin the the storytelling and the thing that people enjoy about Critical Role, just to try to promote their stuff. I doubt that would happen, because I think there's a pretty strong. I mean, I think the players themselves probably wouldn't tolerate that well. Yeah. And then we had the Sundered Isles for Star Forged, the Ironsworn. The sci-fi version of Ironsworn. Yeah. And what was cool about that is if you back Starforged, they gave you the PDF for free. The creator just sent you the not the PDF with the art taken out, the full PDF of Sundered Isles if you backed Starforged in the previous campaign. So you have the kind of ship, kind of piratey or more ship based setting for Starforged. That was really cool. I like when stuff like that happens, because I think a lot with crowdfunding, they're like, okay, thanks, yeah, come back next time, and you don't really get any appreciation for making something possible, for like funding something. There's not anything that kind of residually happens very often, and so it's nice to see when a designer or a company says, yeah, we appreciate you doing this, and since you're already in with this, we know you have this, we'll give you this in addition. That feels good, because you the whole idea, I think, of crowdfunding is more participatory. It's not you're a customer, you're a backer. You're helping something happen. So it's cool when it's recognized a bit more. The Black Company, there was an announcement that we're going to get a Black Company RPG, but still not sure. That might be fun, and it's been done before. I think with just a D20 system, but I don't know. I don't know what we'll see from that. Oh, and something that you participated in is Zone Wars. The Mutant Year Zero Zone Wars went to retail last year, and you picked up. So have you gotten a chance to get that on the table?
I can just look over my shoulder here and look at all these half-painted miniatures.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So, someday.
Nice. Yeah, it's fun. That might next week I might have a chance because people are still on holiday, so we're going to try to get together for an in-person game day. We might have a chance to play a 4-player Zone Wars, so nice. that would be fun. Yeah, if that works out, it would be great. Oh, a funny crowdfunder that happened last year that unfortunately was canceled. Unfortunately, wasn't successful. Was the Goblin Co. video game. So they were going to do a kind of a retro, kind of 8-bit video game based on that setting of Dungeon Degenerates. And that was really fun to see. And they went all in. The campaign was so fun because they literally said, you can, I think it was like $5,000, but you could get a standing arcade cabinet that will put the game in. Like we'll give you an arcade cabinet with the game installed on it, with graphics on it and everything. So if that would have been successful, that would have been pretty awesome if somebody ended up with one of those. But and I saw that they're releasing new. Goblin Co. was advertising new. I forget what they have got a really good name, but their version of Choose Your Own Adventure. It's like I forget. It's like Choose and Die. I think something like that. It's their version of Choose Your Own Adventure, and but it's set in the Dungeon Degenerates setting with all the artwork and everything. But they're releasing new volumes of that are coming out this year. So that was cool to see as well. 13th Age got a second edition. And that's all I heard. I didn't hear much after that. A fun kind of journaling game that had a neat gimmick was Darkness at the Brink of Ohio, where they had YouTube clips of a DJ. So you're basically the narrator of this descent into madness, and the conquest of the elder gods in Ohio was kind of narrated by a radio DJ kind of like, lurching into madness, and you listening to the broadcast and kind of answering questions and doing kind of a journaling storytelling process through that. So I thought that was a fun way to take advantage of technology, because you usually think with journaling games, it's pretty like it's pencil and paper and maybe some dice. So very low tech. So it was fun that they tried to incorporate something so thematic like that. And probably the best way to play Blades in the Dark, or one of the more interesting ways to play Blades in the Dark, is No More. So One More Multiverse folded. They shuttered their servers. So they shut down their servers and are gone. And they literally had built out the entire setting for Blades in the Dark in pixel art. So every NPC, every location, everything was done in pixel art. And it was awesome. It looked really fun. And I could probably easily get my daughter to play in that world with me, because that was so charming. And it's gone. Yeah. So that kind of stuff. And that seems to happen much more for, game designers and digital developers, where it's just the project never gets finished. So it's just, nobody owns this. The company that owns this is gone now. So it's just gone, just delete. Yeah. So it would be nice if that turns up, all that work turns up somewhere else. But, One More Multiverse. So one of the new experimental kind of ETTs, and I think they really didn't have their business model figured out, where they would find a good way to, have a kind of steady stream of income. They might have needed to go a little bit microtransaction-y and be able to sell pixel art basically to people, sell people avatars and stuff to try to get a constant flow of income. Cause I think all they had was a pretty modest subscription model.
You know what, VTT type thing I haven't heard about since you talked about it on the show. That I can't remember what it's called, but it's that stupid in-person augmented reality. Everybody hold your phone at the table like a dork. I haven't heard about that at all since you talked about it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because that was the one that made all the deals with like Dwarven Forge and everything, where they actually had the digital assets of actual and some of the real miniature makers as well. They had digital scans of actual miniatures and actual terrain that you could buy, physically, but you could have it in your, AR VTT. Yeah, I haven't heard anything about that either. I wonder if they're still around, but it's quite ambitious because they were trying to name drop, all of the miniatures producers and terrain people to say, now this can be on your table virtually. But yeah. Didn't hear anything about that since. I wonder if those deals are still in place. No. And Replicant Rebellion. So yeah, we may get a chance to return to Blade Runner and Perez be harassed by having to cooperate with the Replicant Underground.
No, that one is more like almost like a setting book in a way, isn't it? Because
it does. I think it does have a campaign though. So from what I read from the description, it does have like a. I don't know if it's just like kind of campaign hooks or whatever, but it has like ways that players can assist. So you're basically you're not playing LAPD, you're playing Replicant Underground. So I wonder though, if you kill if they're not using the, kind of shift system and everything, if that kills the kind of tension and, kind of the investigation and stuff, if that, kills that, if you're just like trying to cover up for replicants or smuggle, replicants off world.
Yeah, that when I first heard about it, it sounded kind of like the what's the new Alien one? It's like a colonial.
Oh yeah, Building Better Worlds. Yeah,
Building Better Worlds. Right. It's like this feels more like this is a campaign thing. Like this is an ongoing thing. It's not going to be as these episodical mystery kind of things,
right?
Or, but
yeah, I wonder. Yeah, I wonder what they're going to do with it. And maybe they just wanted to flesh out. Maybe when they were writing those cinematic the case files, they thought, wow, this Underground is pretty compelling, and it was pretty dominant in the new film in the new Blade Runner 2049. Yeah, so it was pretty prominent in there. So maybe they wanted to flesh it out, and because they had the rights to, because that was probably part of their license, they thought, why not? And then we got this list in the middle of 2024 of all of the former Games Workshop designers and creators that are headed to Warlord Games to work on Conflict 47. So Andy Chambers was the first one that we heard about, and the list just continued from there. I think Bill King, and it just, I couldn't believe, it's like, wow, I hope they're paying well. Yeah, Gav Thorpe. So a lot of, writers and game designers headed over. So hopefully we're going to see some big things from a Conflict 47 in 2025, because they got some talent behind them now, and at least some interesting fiction and stuff. That'd be great to see, the kind of talent that went into fleshing out the lore of 40K, which was pretty much garbage originally. It was like just nonsense. The original lore of 40K is just silliness, and but how they really made it something that people are so invested in, and so just rabid fans of. It'd be interesting to see another property get that kind of attention, and see if they can make it, if Weird World War II can actually be as compelling as the Horus Heresy. I don't know.
So I don't want to spoil anything, but there may be a round in that game show that's Warhammer questions.
Oh, there we go.
And one of them, I went deep.
Oh, no.
Like, I had to go through the original Rogue Trader rulebook PDF.
Oh, yeah.
And that thing is so badly organized. Hilarious. I mean, it took me 3 tries to be confident I had the correct answers.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Nice. So I'm going to be in a team with Andre then. I think that's my...
Well, see, you with Andre, you get the 40K and you get the comic book stuff because he's a comic book fanatic. With Terry, you get the hardcore Star Trek and Doctor Who stuff.
Yeah, right. It's a tough choice. These are tough opponents too.
Will's kind of a jack of all trades, so yeah, it's interesting.
Wow. Yeah, it's going to be fun. Yeah, very fun. Look forward to that. And then, and Steamforged Games basically took over War Machine. So that was interesting. So Privateer Press is kind of stepping back and letting Steamforged do the production and distribution of War Machine. So I think they're working on the new edition. But that was an interesting step because I think Steamforged had only really promoted, I think, Guild Ball. And they've got one other, like God Tier or something. They've got some other game that has factions and they're trying to promote, but taking over such a big property like War Machine, because at the time, in certain areas, I think War Machine was a rival to 40K pretty easily, because people liked that setting and the miniatures were kind of steampunk and kind of fun and more fantasy. So it kind of rode that line, between fantasy and a little more sci-fi, kind of being in that border area, magic instead of tech. But but that's interesting. And then the Electric State, the Free League RPG based on the art book, got a huge big budget Netflix movie that I think is coming out pretty soon. And from what I've seen of it, it almost looks like Ready Player One or whatever. It's just like a bunch of nonsense, like a bunch of digital nonsense on the screen, because it's all the, kind of robots that used to be just like in amusement parks or washing your car or whatever are now in this wasteland of America.
Yeah, I haven't seen any good visuals from it yet, but it's already strike one that it's got Chris Pratt in it.
Right.
For me. Well, I don't know.
Yeah. And everyone's got a weird blonde. They've got weird bleached hair. It's going to have an odd look. So we'll see. And I think, I don't think that was a good team for getting across probably what the original author was going for as far as the tone. It's going to be a little too popcorn, movie and kind of over the top, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. But another thing that was born last year was Rascal News. So some of the writers from Polygon and some of the other kind of digital blog gaming kind of news sources band together to do a subscription service to do news. They, similar to what you're saying with DCC, they've kind of dropped off my radar. I don't know if they're not getting the stuff aggregated well, so it's showing up in newsreaders, and maybe it's because they have a subscription on a lot of the pages, so stuff just doesn't get picked up. But I've seen just a very few of their, so you literally have to go to Rascal News website to read anything because it's not getting out there like their individual writing used to. So that might be just a problem with the, it being a subscription now. But that was an interesting phenomena as things were in decline. I think a lot of people were giving up tabletop, and we had a story about someone was just he wanted the site to still exist, like Tabletop News, I think, and wanted it to exist. So they're just using AI to kind of, fill up the blog with content. So there's a kind of diminished presence of good coverage on tabletop gaming. It's really, it was good to see that, but as I think we talked about with the chat, it is a little hipster focused, a little heavy indie political hipster focus. So it's not going to cover bigger, broader, stupider, stuff. So that's going to be the one difficulty for them is having that.
I think that's going to be my tagline for my new company.
Yeah.
Bigger, broader, stupider.
More big, more broad, more stupid. All right. And I wanted to talk to you about the new year, Matt. So in the new year, we have many things are happening for us. And in fact, we are having a new sponsorship. So I wanted to give you a moment to them and talk a little bit about, so this is somebody that we've promoted before. They sent us the product and we really enjoyed it. And basically, why I was attracted to this and why it was interesting is because, personal goals and motivation for me was to actually, do more content, get more done, be more productive with this channel. And I found a good way to do that. And that way was Magic Mind. So Magic Mind was this, it's an energy shot basically, but it's a sustained release caffeine and alertness booster that worked well. It was kind of a daily thing that you can do, but when they approached us again, the interesting thing that they talked about is this concept that the creator talked about as far as mental wealth. So an investment in your mental health. So the same way you're thinking about all that Bitcoin that you're buying, or those sustained financial things in your life, all that Hokuto coin that you lost money on. So mental wealth is investment in, and basically your lifestyle, things that you can do, good habits, good sleep habits, good exercise habits, good dietary habits that will improve your mental functioning. And that also includes kind of external things, like things that you can take, like caffeine or something like Magic Mind. So I was really frustrated with as I used to rely heavily on caffeine all through school and all through everything. A pot of black coffee was my go-to, and I just can't do that anymore. I very quickly end up with the jitters and feeling just frustrated and just agitated, so that I don't get anything done. Something like Magic Mind is a really nice way to, I can still have my morning coffee, but then I have a sustained kind of mental awareness and seem to be functioning at a better level, just feeling better and feeling more, feeling more aware. So the interesting thing that they have added now to the Magic Mind line is Magic Sleep. So with their whole concept of mental wealth, Magic Sleep will give you, so you have the alertness during the day of Magic Mind, you have the deep restfulness of sleep that of course then makes you function that much better the next day. So this is kind of a pair of products that can be used together. So Magic Mind in the morning, Magic Sleep at night, and to really kind of optimize what your performance can be. So I'm very happy to be in touch with these guys again. So so Magic Sleep, of course, is a shot for better sleep. So both of these are just small drinkable bottles. And the cool thing about them is they talk about being nano encapsulated. So instead of a powder or a pill, the ingredients for these are smaller and more digestible than you would find in other ways to ingest them. So that's why they work well in a drink. So they say that it absorbs 5 to 10 times faster into the body. And I would recommend you give this a shot. I've had success with it, and it's kind of been part of my refocusing for the new year. So not a formal New Year's resolution, but trying to get back online. So Magic Mind has 12 active ingredients that supports your mental acuity. And one of the things that also, one of the ingredients that I like is green tea, is matcha green tea, which doesn't give you that kick like I like with my coffee in the morning, but it does give you a sustained caffeine release. Another cool thing that they're doing is they're donating 5 cents from every bottle that they sell to mental health charities that help the U.S. homeless. And and of course, a 100% refund, no questions asked guarantee. And currently now they are shipping internationally to over 65 countries. So it is possible, even outside of North America, to get these shipped to you. And they're showing up in stores as well. So you can check your favorite health food store, Sprouts, H-E-B, Central Market, some of the places that you can now find Magic Mind at retail. So if you would like, and you can see that the URL at the top of the screen, if you go to magicmind.com/upturnedpodjan, so MagicMind, magicmind.com/upturnedpodjan, UPTURNEDPODJAN. You can get, and we'll put that link in the description. You can get a discount on your first your purchase of Magic Mind. And where are my details? Sorry. I don't have the details right in front of me. Oh, I'm failing miserably. So the your first you get a significant discount on your first purchase. You'll get 45% off a Magic Mind bundle with that link. So the magicmind.com/upturnedpodjan gives you 45% off the bundle in the link. And they even have a way to try it out for just a quick 24 hours. But I like that. I like that they're thinking more, because that was the one thing that Magic Mind helped with, is awareness and kind of mental functioning. But if I didn't sleep well, that, it wasn't gonna help me as much. So Magic Mind and Magic Sleep are a nice combination. So head over to that link if you are interested in improving your mental functioning and investing in your mental wealth. So that's magicmind.com/upturnedpodjan. So thank you again, Magic Mind, for sponsoring us. All right. So that was nice. A new year, a new promotion. So yeah, this is this is promotional content. Our live stream here. So what else? So what else happened? So maybe Will was excited in 2024. The Cosmere TTRPG made its appearance. Has Will mentioned, because did he back the initial the Brandon Sanderson?
He did.
Yes.
He has not mentioned it at all, but that doesn't surprise me, because Will doesn't really do the interwebs too much.
I see.
So he's probably it's just gonna show up one day and he's gonna be like, oh yeah, this came.
Nice. Yeah, so we'll see. I'm curious. I mean, he's had such huge success with those books and that setting. So if he has that kind of success on tabletop, and I think that campaign did really well. So that's amazing. The King Midas of of fantasy literature. We also got noticed that a Welcome to Night Vale RPG was happening. I don't know how silly or interesting that could be, but we'll find out. We'll find out how well that, and I think it's one of those things that, like, it, Night Vale has its fan base. It's doing really well. They do live shows and everything. So I wonder what place, just like with the Monty Python RPG and stuff. It's like, I wonder what place that has in people's gaming groups. I wonder how hard that's going to be to introduce. But it'll bring in some more players, we hope. So a huge thing that happened this year, and kind of unexpected, I think, from the initial reaction. So a few years ago, there was a crowdfunder for just miniatures based on illustrations that were for an upcoming setting and an upcoming skirmish game, and that was Trench Crusade. And so one of the original designers from Mordheim and the GW days was working in collaboration with I think an artist and then a sculptor to do I don't have any of this in front of me, so I'm trying to remember everything off the top of my head. But so they did the setting, very 40K style setting, very heavily influenced. So demons and the church, kind of battling it out, but a more like World War I type technology. But the illustrations were very 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 evocative of this very kind of grim, dark, but with its own kind of twist setting. And they originally just crowdfunded some miniatures that were going to be cast in resin, but this year, this last year, they did a full campaign for all the factions, miniatures for all the factions, plus a rule book, and it did really, really well. So it was much more unexpected. It was a much more successful than I think they even thought. And I think as people are just looking, the price points and everything for 40K are just turning a lot of people off. So Trench Crusade, I think, is, and especially because it's done by, some of the original designers, has been inspiring for people. They have wanted to find something. Have you ran into much about Trench Crusade or?
Not at all, man.
Oh yeah.
I haven't seen anything for it.
So I'm forgetting all the names, but now I have them in front of me. So Mike Francina was the original artist. He worked on Diablo, Path of Exile, and Magic the Gathering. So he did the original illustrations. James Sheriff was the one that held the crowdfunder a few years back to sell his sculpts. And these were just kind of one-offs because the originally Trench Crusade was going to just be a rule set that was kind of miniatures agnostic. Like, we have the artwork and this is what stuff should look like, but you could just kit bash and make your own versions of these factions. We'll just give you kind of like, kind of the theme of them. But with this campaign, they solidified, we have sculpts now of everything. These are the units, these are the factions. And Tomas Perrin from Warhammer 6th edition and Mordheim did the rule set. So it ended up being, I think, a really nice it's a real small team, 3 guys, and they're doing, what they love. And I think that, at least Perinid has a full-time job. I think he works at Sony. So it's not like, they're desperate, they're desperate to live off of this money. They're just doing something from their passion. And I think that really shows. And also the artwork is wonderful. It doesn't have the, it's more like less Roman Empire, more like crusade, like World War I with the kind of crusades. It's like the crusades never ended and they ended up looking like World War I. And so it has a really nice feel. But that was huge. That was a huge kind of surprising success because it immediately got a lot of attention, I think, because of the names involved, had a pretty active Discord, and then they did their full crowdfunding campaign last year. And I think it ended in November, so towards the end of last year. And where's the total? 3 million. Yep. 3.3 million. Yeah. So it did well. So there is a need out there, for an alternative to 40K that still feels like it. And, and this is of course a smaller scale. This is not that a huge epic scale, but I think people are just tired of this weird chokehold that the corporate, management of Games Workshop has over those properties in that game. They love that world, but it's so fucking expensive to play in it. And they're doing such weird things with the availability of physical books and stuff. And then their digital books are in like a weird EPUB version, like an EPUB like version 4 or whatever, that doesn't work on most devices because it's a fixed layout digital system. So basically it only works on iPads. Basically, if you buy, which is the full price of the physical book, if you buy the digital book, it only works on an iPad. So if you don't own an iPad, you cannot see this digital file that you paid $40 for. So, it's really silly. And I think they just did that to try to slow down file sharing and piracy, of their books, because they know they make a lot of money off of just changing their rules every 3 years. So Trench Crusade looks fun. I ordered the core book, Trench Crusade, the core book. I didn't, because they offered the other nice thing that they're doing is they're offering cast, I think Siocast. I think the original stuff was resin, but these are Siocast. So Siocast or STLs, like digital files to print. So they're not backing off of you can just make your own miniatures. You can just use your own miniatures. You can print your own miniatures. So they are offering everything to just get people to play the game. So that was, happy to see that. So we'll see when that starts getting fulfilled, when the book arrives and everything. I'll be sure to show that off on the channel, and we'll see what kind of support it gets, or if it gets continued big support, or if the fandom fractures and everything gets too political. I guess when you got all the religious iconography and demons and stuff, it's bound to get out of hand. But and we also saw the crowdfunding for we were talking about Vaesen for the Mythic Carpathia. So a Eastern European setting that they actually got Eastern Europeans to write. So it's not going to be just an outsider's view of Eastern Europe. So that should be fun to if you want to do some monster hunting and ghost hunting in another part of the world. Yeah, we'll see. Oh, and then so we talked about the so Star Trek Second Edition got a new rule set, but it also got a new starter set. So if you haven't tried Star Trek, those are always a nice way. The starter set they did for the first edition was actually really nice. It had a great little Romulan adventure. I think that we have that actual play on the channel, and it was really great to jump into that. And the adventure, of course, kind of walked you through, the rules, getting kind of more and more complicated, kind of explaining concepts. So I'm sure that that starter set for 2E will do the same thing and kind of introduce you to how can you use just D20s to do everything in the game when you were rolling, multiple D6s before. So, yeah, that was cool. And a surprise and kind of a really, a really difficult decision was the second volume of Household came out this year as well. That was crowdfunded by Two Little Mice. Gorgeous. The first edition is amazing. Second edition looked just as gorgeous. And you go out into the yard and you go onto the roof and you're leaving the confines of the house in this new setting. And it just has their same gorgeous art and everything. So it was one of those things that it's probably going to be available in some form, but you can't quite get everything. Everything that they're producing for this campaign is not going to be available. Just the books, and they're expensive, but they're well made, and they don't ever go down in price. Like they never go to Amazon retail, so you never get this discount on these nice books that Two Little Mice make. Mm-hmm. But actually though, we saw that was the other thing. I didn't have that. I didn't have that in there. But the other Two Little Mice kind of news that we got at the end of the year was they're collaborating with Free League. So Two Little Mice is collaborating with Free League to do Outgunned. I'm not. No, is it Free League? Yeah, it's Free League. Yes. Free League, yeah, Free League. It's Morkborg. Yeah. So they're going to help them distribute. Outgunned, so get a little bit more reach on that, maybe get it into more hands. So yeah, Free League and Two Little Mice are promoting Outgunned together. So I think Household is a little more boutique and a little more elaborate. Like it's not just a small couple of books to play the game. It's some big volumes. Mm-hmm. So Household, loves the custom dice and it loves, its own maps and stuff. So it's not maybe as portable as Outgunned is. So I think that's why it was Outgunned that went for the went with Free League's promotion.
Yeah, that because I follow them both on several platforms, and they both are getting so much love for that announcement. It's really cool.
Oh, nice.
Like those are two very well respected game companies, I think, in the not the dragon game area. Right.
No, that's true. Yeah, that's great to see. Yeah, I got a little worried when I saw Free League having to push The Walking Dead, and it sounds like it's an okay game, but I'm like, that IP is just poison for me. It's just like that no one's done anything good with it. And AMC had to be on the on the book itself. So don't want to have anything to do with that. But seeing something like this, seeing them helping smaller designers and people having success get their games out there. Like they also sell, I think you can not only Morkborg but like Death in Space and some other products are on their site. They help promote some other.
There was an interview with one of the main founder designer guys at Free League, Thomas Herenstrom, and he just straight up said, "We're never going to stop making games."
That's great. Yeah. That's right. Like I saw that headline. Yeah. And that's great though, that they haven't become jaded and just all about the business. They're not just, asking the bean counters, how can we squeeze more, profit out of this? They're, they want to make new games. And I think I saw just a headline or like a little bit of that article talking about they want to keep supporting everything they already have. They already have a lot of games that they're selling, but they, want to keep making new ones and keep supporting the ones they already have because they don't get bored with, with any of this. So yeah, that's nice.
Mm-hmm.
But a few things though this year have made us worry a little bit. Was it the year before was The Walking Dead, and then we heard the news that on Alchemy, Freely can no longer offer the free PDFs if you bought the content. Yeah, so they had to step back from that. And then the news we got at the end of the year is that their 5e adaptation of Lord of the Rings is going on all of the Dungeons and Dragons platform. So D&D Beyond now has the Lord of the Rings content on it, and so will, of course, I assume eventually their VTT and stuff. It must show up there as well if they're promoting it. But yeah, so that's a little worrisome because they want to, give people access to it as much as possible. And if you're already playing 5e and it's just happens to be the Lord of the Rings setting, then I guess so. But that was a little worrying. But yeah, it's all, they're getting bigger and they're getting more successful. So hopefully that helps fund other things and they keep doing that.
Yeah. Be cool if they could get Alien ported to Alchemy.
Oh yeah, I hope so. I hope that happens. Yeah, that would be nicer than Roll20, that's for sure. One weird thing that we saw is because we were talking about this for a while, that Wizards of the Coast doesn't need Larian anymore. They have their own video game studio that's going to be making their own video games that are going to be so amazing and not crappy like that Dark Alliance game that just shut down its servers. No, it's going to be amazing. So they hired a guy that worked on Mass Effect to do this original property that's basically just Mass Effect with different aliens called Exodus. So Exodus is going to be an RPG like for consoles and PC, going to be a video game RPG, but they're also doing a tabletop version of it. And so they were promoting this pretty seriously. They've got the voice of Interstellar basically on their on all their trailers, and I guess he's going to do a character voice in there. Then they're releasing a tabletop RPG version of this Exodus, and the big mechanic they talk about in it is time dilation. So just like in Interstellar, you can watch your daughter grow up, I guess. But I guess the companions, I guess your like people that you leave behind or people that NPCs will age out and probably pass away. And I'm sure there's a funny twist on that Matthew McConaughey quote. They, my companions, they keep getting older and I stay the same age. So there's some time dilation joke in a Matthew McConaughey voice that will work for Exodus. But so we'll see. This is Wizards of the Coast's first original IP, since they took over the Dragon game. So I don't know. I wonder if this is going to have any success. It seems like there's a lot of money behind it because Hasbro has a lot of money, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. And the physical book, I think, is already up for pre-order if you subscribe to their newsletter. So we'll see if that starts showing up.
It's got to be. Have they said what it's going to look like? The TTRPG part of it?
No, they're just really broadly. They haven't even talked about the system. You can pre-order the book, but you don't even know if it's 5e or what the system's going to be.
It's going to be built on 5e, right? I mean, I feel like
you would think, yeah, right.
With everything else they do, I would be shocked if it wasn't.
Yeah, wouldn't that be strange if they were starting to, then they had to support multiple systems? Like, okay, for all of our sci-fi games, we use the Exodus system. Yeah. So, yeah, that'll be interesting. But yeah, this is weird. This is them trying to do something that they're probably not equipped to do, but they're doing that thing like Microsoft does. They just throw a ton of money at someone that's had success in an industry or success in making games or whatever, and see if they can get make the magic happen just by funding the hell out of it. And I think this guy was actually retired. I think the lead designer on this, I think he retired from the Mass Effect studio and was done with games, because I think the last thing he worked on was Mass Effect Andromeda, which was terrible. So I think he was pretty much done. And so they brought him back. They pulled him back in.
My God. He's sitting at his like Washington State lake house and getting off the phone and like, I keep trying to get out. They keep pulling me back.
Yes. You can't get away. Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see if this guy has some good ideas or if he's just, should have been put out to pasture. But it'll be a very expensive, very well furnished pasture he's going to be put out in after this deal. And the final thing we can talk about is, Amazon finally said, okay, it's for real now. We've come to an agreement. This is actually going to happen. Amazon is going to be the sole producer of Warhammer media. So they're going to do movies and streaming series and everything. And Superman's going to be involved. Henry Cavill is going to be involved in it, starring in it, producing it. Who knows? But we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Warhammer is a pretty squirrely property for somebody that was afraid of Conan the Barbarian. Yeah. They were afraid to produce Conan, and they're going to go Warhammer. Okay, yeah. Well, yeah. That seems.
Yeah, that's. Let's see. Where could we go? It's even more like sociopathic and brutal than Conan. Oh yes, 40K.
Yeah, maybe. Well, that's right. Maybe Conan just wasn't enough. They're like, yeah. I mean,
Conan. He's such a tryhard.
Yeah. So we'll see what this. The frustrating thing is, okay, yeah. Now we know this deal is happening, and there's all this anticipation. And Henry Cavill is a 40K fan, and he was a Witcher fan, and that didn't go very well. But it's going to be multiple years. This is at least 2 years away from seeing anything produced for this. They don't have scripts for anything. I mean, we're a ways off, and so we're going to forget all about this.
But you can watch the next season of Wheel of Time while you're waiting.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, there's so much great stuff on Amazon to keep you. Yeah, so the first content we've seen, the first 40K content to actually show up on the Amazon platform is that secret level short that they did. So basically a Titus, like a supporting Space Marine 2 with the Titus character in it. So it's Ultramarines and, a little short story, not really just kind of a supplemental story. So they're doing that. These secret level shorts are the same guys that did Love and Robots, and they're doing these Unreal Engine 5, basically shorts of extra stories from each of these settings. And so, yeah, we've seen a bunch of them. I mean, we talked about the Pac-Man one, right? You watched you've seen the Pac-Man secret level, Matt, on Amazon?
Yeah. The Pac-Man, did you drop your DMT episode? Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we'll see. So the 40K episode looked good, but that's not anybody that's going to be involved in production or any of the show or anything. And it did turn out that he mentioned on his blog the amazing artist that single-handedly did the best CG animation of 40K ever, the Astartes series that was done as a fan film, who was basically scooped up by Games Workshop and said, either we'll delete you from the internet or you work for us now. He supposedly did some storyboarding on it, and you can kind of tell there's some pacing and some interesting kind of tightness and kind of the kind of kinetic movement and stuff of some of the fighting in that some of the combat in that short feels a little bit tighter, like Astartes was. And that was the thing that was so amazing about Astartes. It was just no nonsense, just like the weight of everything was right, the sound of everything was right, and it was just massacre. So he was involved, but I think he was like a layout artist or some very minor credit on that secret level short.
I enjoyed that short actually quite a bit. And yeah, the some of the shot what's the word, composition,
Mm-hmm.
and like some of the camera angles and the way they cut things looked really good, I thought. And it was, even though it obviously wasn't really, there was no story, obviously. It was Space Marines go there, shoot thing, but it was still fun to watch. And the psyker in the box, man, that killed me. I laughed. Yeah. I laughed out loud because they're just dragging this box, and I just assumed it was like a holy relic nuke or something.
Right.
And then the crazy psyker guy jumps out of it after that thing had been banging up and down all over the place.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, that's awesome. That was awesome.
Yeah, that's the one thing that they have to do in that 40K setting is show you how horrible all the servitors and all the, just like the humanity, the navigators and everything, that people that have just been like, destroyed and committed themselves to just serving on these ships and just being like this half machine, half human thing. Yeah, the horrible use of, actual human beings to just become these appliances and things has to really come across, because that makes it extra grotesque. And we'll see if they can stomach that. And we ended the year with the Vallejo strike, but we don't need to rehash that whole thing. That's really, really sad that the biggest paint company for miniatures is having labor problems because they were bought out by an asset management company. So that's great.
Well, there's one other thing.
Oh, yeah.
Came up in the chat. That you didn't mention. The end of Brinkwatch.
Oh, that's right. I guess that's the thing we should end with is what a shitty 50th anniversary this was. Yeah. It was such a half-assed, really, really sad celebration. And they did the same thing with Magic the Gathering. I think Magic the Gathering had 30 years or whatever. It was just terrible. Just they really don't know how to do this because they can't get their heads out of their asses and like really give the fans, at least the old fans. I mean, you could just basically say, this is the last time we're ever going to indulge you old grognard bastards. And, we own this now. Here you go. Here's the last little, here's your, The Force Awakens. And then fuck off because now it's for the theater kids now. And we have no interest in you playing our games. They should have just done that because, what they did was so half-assed. And so, I mean, we got some Converse, some Chuck Taylor Converse and Pop-Tarts themed, and some Lego minifigures. And that's pretty much it. Yeah. There was like a few things with a 50th anniversary logo, but that's right. We did, in the midst of the 50th anniversary, the executive producer, I think was his title, of Dungeons and Dragons stepped down. So yeah.
Bye, Kyle. Bye. We should have made like some kind of montage.
Everybody waving. Oh, so his LinkedIn now says independent. Yep. Former executive producer of Dungeons and Dragons, now independent.
Independent hot tub salesman?
Possibly. I mean, he wouldn't be he wouldn't feel awkward if he had to recommend a hot tub installation for you. Yeah, he's just a consultant on creative leadership, product strategy, and game development. He knows nothing about any of those things. He only knows the wrong way to do it. Maybe that's it, though. He can tell you what he did in his career so that your company knows how not to manage a property and learn by my mistakes.
If we were thinking about it, if we were planning ahead.
Yes.
We could have asked all our regulars like Abyss and Carolina and Calarion and maybe Orcus and whoever to make little just like short videos saying goodbye to Kyle. Right. And you could have stitched them all together in a montage. Oh, it would have been awesome.
Oh, beautiful. A beautiful send-off. Yeah. And I really think they threw him to the wolves. We don't know how much his, how much effect he really had. Because in some situations, executive, producers are just, they're just putting out fires and they're just like trying to keep things, somewhat moving forward. So we don't know, like, what his influence was, but they really threw him with the OGL kind of debacle. They threw him to the wolves. They're just like, get out there, start flapping your gums on podcasts and, give the corporate line and make us sound, not insane. So that was, but
he said stupid crap.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
which made it like, if he had never said anything dumb, I bet you never would have like looked at his LinkedIn profile.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And never learned about the whole hot tub thing.
Right.
And like, this is his fault.
Yeah, that was. That stuff like, we're leaving the industry. I don't know what that was, and he had some really weird attitudes, and just like really leaning into those stereotypes, those old guys in basements, and all this like stuff that. If he really believes that, it's really sad that he was trying to run a company and an IP as like, storied as Dungeons and Dragons on that on those beliefs. It was really, really sad.
Yeah.
But farewell, Kyle. I mean, it's funny. We'll see if he pops up again somewhere. That would be funny if he comes back, even video games or tabletop. If he comes back someplace funny. But he said he's leaving the industry, so maybe he is boarding the mothership, and actually leaving.
He's going to be a North American territory salesman for Temu.
That's right. They sell dice. They do sell dice. So yeah, he could figure out how that somehow applies. That's right. Farewell, Kyle. That's a big loss for the industry. It's just too bad. I mean, that was a really poor way to. The other thing was the book, that Making of Dungeons and Dragons, that big coffee table book they released with that insane. So there was the Peterson intro essay, and there's also that other idiot producer that wrote Gary Gygax is a terrible person, but we have to get past that introduction to the Making of Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah, that was so poorly handled. Yeah, they really
So that kind of ties into, that's what Frank Mentzer is losing his shit about these days, is mostly the 50th anniversary weird little prefaces and things and warnings and all that. And that's what I think I had messaged you about this Facebook old school, like they call it Ancient Dungeons and Dragons player Facebook group. Is kind of starting to tear itself apart. Because they'd done a good job of getting the like crazy Nazi type folks out of there, but now they're sort of like if you just say, like, I made a post about, hey, I don't really agree with Frank because he was kind of ranting, but I kind of know why this is happening, right? Because when you get older, you start seeing the same shit over and over and over again, and it can really wear you down. And you kind of forget that there's a new generation of players, who would then need to see this little whatever caveat, preface, warning, whatever you want to call it. So it's not really for older folks so much. And so I was purely suggesting that people have a little empathy and context for why he's so irritated about all this stuff,
Right.
And oh man, I got torn up.
Yeah. When I did the flip through of the Tonesborg book, there was a little preface there. They kind of did the thing where they said, this is reproduce exactly as it was, this may offend you. And we got comments on the YouTube that's like, this pussy ass intro, I'm out. I would have bought this book, but I'm not going to buy it now because you had to pander to whatever. So yeah, it's going to be a thing. And I think just talk to your grandchildren and see how sensitive they are, and realize that there's no marketing anything from the 70s to the little kids of today, because they are fucking fragile. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, like, regardless of whether content warnings are a thing or a big deal or not, Trevor Duvall's idea for his safety thing.
Yes.
Oh my God. The best.
Yes.
This is a heavy book. Don't drop it on your foot.
Yes, that's the only way this what he wrote is going to hurt you. No, I thought that really that was really, really good. Yeah, it was fun. It was fun to take a look at that on the channel. We had a great interview, and if you're a patron or a member, you can hear the extra extended edition and find out how and why Trevor started Me, Myself, and Die.
And the GW story.
Yeah.
So good.
Good stuff. But that was a fun conversation, and hopefully once Fallen Empires is out, we can see Broken Empires. We can have another chat and see how it's going, how it feels to for that game to be out there in the wild. Yeah, that's got to be crazy. That's got to be a really crazy thing, because it sounds like people they say everyone's got one great American novel in them. Like, everybody can write one novel based on their their life experience. This is his game, based on his life experience in gaming. So to see how the world handles that, it'll be interesting. Yeah,
he just did his year-end live stream. I don't know if you watched any of it or not.
Oh no, I didn't.
It was pretty interesting. I mean, it was mostly covering ground we'd already covered, but he did say that they're mostly satisfied with the mechanics that they've got locked in now, but they ditched that personality trait system. Do you remember that?
No.
He had a thing, because that game didn't have attributes, if you remember. Right. But he did have a sort of Pendragon style personality thing where you'd have like a percentage of how chivalrous you are, or whatever, and all the way down through like 10 different things. And he wanted to use that as sort of like not really a skill or anything, but it was like, when you aren't sure how your character would proceed, you could always use this, because it was expressed in percentages. And then he's taken it out. He said he decided it just didn't mesh with the rest of the system. Interesting. It felt like a tacked on kind of thing.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Well, that is going to do it. 2024 is in its grave. So, and I don't mind. This is one of the worst years for me. So I don't mind seeing this, off in the distance, in the rear view. So how about you, Matt? Are you going to miss 2024?
Right now, I would say no, but I have a feeling soon I will. I have a funny feeling, now that I have to watch whenever I see a Cybertruck parked outside a
building. Right. So, where can people find you, Matt?
I am on Blue Sky, Threads, and Instagram. It's at Hargold, HAARGALD. Talking about games and some other things I'm into. On Threads, I'm getting ready for this ridiculous meta thing that they're rolling out where they're going to have AI users. It's despicable. But anyway, that's where I am. How about you?
Well, you can find me at Abusecartoons on YouTube and Twitch, where I draw my single panel gag cartoon. There'll be a January stream coming up. You can check out the December stream where I simulate a Japanese Christmas with fried chicken and strawberry shortcake. And so that's Abusecartoons. If you want to read that cartoon, it's gocomics.com/domestic abuse. And if you like what we're doing here with the weekly, consider becoming a weekling. You can do that by going to patreon.com/upturntable. So there you get exclusive content, extended interviews, the short audio fiction, stuff that you won't see anywhere else, and also our actual plays in longer form. So if you don't want to go through a playlist and listen to ads, become a member for as little as $1 or a patron for as little as $1 and hear all the audio uninterrupted with all of our rules checks intact. But that's upturntable.com is the website, and Upturntable on all social media. And thank you so much to all the patrons and backers. I will start, I guess I'll wait until the sponsorship is over, but I'll start ending the thing. I want to put up the current members and patrons. I did that at the end of the Trudvang Adventures video, and I thought that's a nice thing to keep updated because I seem to be not thanking people enough. So thank you everybody that's a current patron or member, and look forward to a productive and fun 2025. And stay tuned tomorrow at this time for Alien, More Destroyer of Worlds, the Alien RPG. Nice. So thank you for joining us, and we'll be back again next week. Happy New Year.
Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye.